Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope you would be enjoying the ending spring season and staying safe at your homes. As you know that your teachers are not sitting idle, but they are working on online lectures for you people so that you may not halt your studies in academics and continue to study at your homes through online lectures. So here's your teacher Rawal Ahmed from English department. And let's begin our Unit 2 first lesson today. Unit 2 Life Skills, and today we'll be reading the topic WILBERT'S Education, taken from the Chip Chip Kazrurs, written by V.S. Nepal. So dear students, before starting our today's lesson, I'll share some of the words with you so that you may have a better idea about them. So the first word is arithmetic. It means calculations. Second is ambition. It means aim. And the third one is jibes. It means insulting remarks. Then we have seized. It means captured. Then we have irresistible. It means something that cannot be resisted. Then we do have haphazard. It means chaotic, something that cannot be controlled. Then we have frills, so it means extraneous formalities. This word has been used figuratively here. So let's begin our narrative passage. So boys, once there was a boy whose name was Wilbert Ramsaran, and his father was Egbert Ramsaran, who owned a transport company named Ramsaran Transport Company. His father was not interested to teach his child till higher grades. He wanted his son Wilbert to take over his transport company just after reading few basic grades. Even though while admitting his son to his school, he advised, "I don't want you to come with any doctor's stupidness to me. Leave that to your brother Bholai. I'm not going to tolerate any nonsense from you. I'm sending you to school so that you could learn to read and write, and add and subtract. Especially add and subtract, because that is what your life will be about. Nothing else. That was all I needed in my day, so I don't see why it should be any different with you." His father's this advice affected a lot on Wilbert. He took interest in studies in his basic grades, but after performing well in junior classes, he started deviating himself from studies. He neglected the frills of education and concentrated his efforts on mastering the arts of addition and subtraction and learning to read and write tolerably well. These achievements successfully accomplished, the education of Wilbert Ramsaran came to an effective end. School, as such, held no further interest for him. He did not seek companionship of boys of his own age. He had nothing in common with most of them. Their ambition and general outlook were not his. Now he had been turned into a lazy and not attentive boy who used to disturb his fellow students. His fate had already been decided, and his fellow students' competitive and cleverness, passion for the thrills of education irritated him. Nevertheless, he was very sensitive to the jibes and insulting sentences, and was quick to use offense at insults real and imaginary. He was proud of his natural physical strength and was always ready to call on it fights to settle arguments. This attitude irked his teachers so much. They remained vexed and worried on his sluggish and irresponsible behavior. After bearing him a lot, they decided to call his father and they complained his father. His father's response was very disappointing. He just asked, "You try beating him?" "We tried to beat him," they replied, "but it don't seem to have an effect on him at all." His father laughed. "Ha ha ha, he could read and write?" "Just about." Then his father asked, "And he could add and subtract?" "Yes," the teacher said, "he is very bright in arithmetic." "Ha ha ha, well then I don't see what all the fuss is about. That is all I sent him to school to learn in the first place. I don't care about nothing else. I wouldn't be surprised if he had more to learn from outside school than inside it." Egbert Remsen's this response disappointed and despaired the teachers, who became totally hopeless of Wilbert. They gave up on him, and he was permitted to come and go virtually as he pleased. This arrangement suited him. The teacher's only response after listening to his father was this: "If that's your attitude, sorry, we can't do anything." So dear students, this was the all passage. Outwardly this passage is very simple and not intricate, but actually it contains a deep message in it. Is this sentence that he was not taking interest in studies because his fate had already been decided, contains a deep message in it, that probably Wilbert, who had been a very bright student in his junior grades, could have performed or had an inclination towards any subject, would have brilliance in any subject, but because his father had already decided his fate, his that talent, his that brilliance, his that interest, his that intellect remained unexplored, and he did not focus on his studies. So boys, this was the all passage. Now let's come towards this exercise. I'll just read out the questions for you. You have to try yourself to answer these questions in a good way. Question number 1 is, what plans does Mr. Remsen have for Wilbert's future? Question number 2 is, what is the difference between Mr. Remsen's attitude towards the Wilbert and towards Bhulai? Give evidence from text to support your answer. Explain in your own words the meaning of the phrase, "It had been drummed into his head." Explain the meaning of the metaphor, "the frills of education." In the third paragraph, we learn that Wilbert made few friends at school because the other boys were more intelligent, the other boys did not share his views on life, he was extremely sensitive to teasing, he was frequently absent. Last question, what does the following sentence tell you about Wilbert's behavior? He was proud of his natural physical strength and was always ready to call on it to settle arguments. So dear students, I'll be sharing the text of this passage into your WhatsApp groups as well, and try to do these questions in a good way. Take care of yourself and the people around you. We'll meet soon in the next lesson. Take care and Allah Hafiz.